So we're at Let's Make 2018 our best year yet. We had a bit of a technical hitch with our video again, as usual. The guys, if you want to join in, the guys are just doing an exercise at the moment. We're looking at celebrating our successes of 2017. So they're sharing with each other what was it that they set out to achieve in 2017 and actually achieved it. Because one of the things that we've said is that we do not celebrate our successes anywhere near as much as we should do. So, and also, you know, our successes are achieved by our unconscious mind. Our unconscious mind is like a 5-, 6-, 7-year-old. And, you know, if you celebrate the successes of a 5-year-old, then the natural tendency is for that 5-year-old to do even more of what they did to get the celebration before. So what we're about to do, we're just actually sharing with each other our successes for the year, and then we're going to celebrate that together, and then you'll be back with the process for the rest of the day. We're going to continue live streaming this. As long as we continue to have internet access, then we should be okay. I'll catch up with you later. Okay, just take another minute to finish up sharing your successes. So how was that? Achieved more than you thought? Good. Now, here's the tradition. When we go and set goals and we achieve things, then rightly and fairly, we should, for every single achievement, get a standing ovation. So what I want you to do is give each other a standing ovation for your successes and achievements in 2017. And notice how that feels. That feels good. So now, the next part of the process is, what did you set out to achieve in 2017 that you haven't achieved yet? Yet is one of my favourite words in the English language. Because you see, most people, they set a goal for what we're going to do in 2017, they don't achieve it, and they go, oh, I'm a failure. Whereas if you go like, I just haven't achieved that goal yet, the way you feel about it emotionally is totally different. Plus also there's a presupposition and supposition that it's just a matter of time. Yeah. So now if you want to do it with the same person, if you want to get up and share this with somebody else, so you get to meet as many new people during the event, please feel free to do that. Let's take 6 or 7 minutes sharing with someone the goals that you set out to achieve in 2017 that you haven't achieved yet. Yeah? Do that. Okay, take a minute to finish sharing what you haven't achieved yet this year. Now here's the interesting thing, and I experienced this on every single best year yet that we've been doing over the last 9 years. Quite often the energy is higher
on that one than it is on the other one in the room. Yeah. Which is not the way that most people would experience it or think of it. That actually want to avoid thinking about these things rather than actually making it a point. So again, so what we've done is we've looked at those things that we haven't achieved yet. This is the second step in the 3-step process for 2017. The majority of people will not do what you've just done. So again, what I think is, because you were brave enough to face the things you haven't achieved yet, then you deserve another standing ovation. Let's make this a habit for 2018. Great stuff. Okay. Step 3 is possibly the most important of the 3 steps. Which is this. Yeah? So, you've looked at what the goals that you set in 2017 and you achieved. You've looked at the goals that you set in 2017 and you haven't achieved yet. Which puts you in a great position right now to learn from that. To discover what are your rules for success. What are the things that you did with the goals that you achieved that you didn't do with the goals that you didn't achieve? Or what was it that you didn't do with the goals that you haven't achieved yet that you did do over here? Yeah, so there'll be certain things you can learn from this. Certain things that you need to stop doing, certain things you need to do. These rules for success, when you follow them with your goals for 2018, will mean that you achieve every single goal that you set, provided you learn today what your personal rules for success are, and you use them and apply them in 2018. So again, if you want to do this with the same person, you can do. If you want to do it with somebody else around the room, you can do. Work out what your rules for success are. The rules that when you follow them, you achieve your goals. Yeah. Same amount of time, 6-7 minutes. Okay, so take a minute just to finish up. Sharing your rules for success. How was that? Did you get some good rules for success out of that? So who would like to share one of their biggest aha rules of success that they've just got that? Yes, Claire. Taking action. Yep. So you want to learn the Chinese, so you took lessons. That's like real rocket science leap of... It reminds me, I was doing a seminar around health, fitness and well-being. I had one of my students there, Rebecca. And Rebecca had done absolutely every training I've done. She'd done practitioner, master practitioner, trainer's training, whatever. I mean, I had to invent new trainings just to keep her as a customer, because she did everything I've done. And we're talking about this stuff, and she had a major light bulb moment, and I could see it from the stage, and I'm like, wow, that's a big light bulb. Yeah, she goes, it is. Yeah. I said, well, we share it with the rest of the group, because, if it's such a big aha moment for you, it's going to be, gold dust for everybody else. And she goes, yeah, she said, I've just realised what taking action means. Trainer of NLP, right? And I went, right. And she goes, yeah, she said, I thought that taking action was letting go of negative emotions, deleting limiting decisions, and setting goals out of my timeline. She said, I've just realised that I'm going to have to change what I eat and exercise. I went, no shit, Sherlock. Really? I know you've heard that one as well this year, haven't you? Which is what you put on the Facebook group. Brilliant. Good round of applause for Claire. Christmas card for you, sharing your Who else had a major? Very much, you had a major aha.
Don't let anybody second guess me. I know what's right for me.
Okay. So, knowing what's right for you. Yeah. Ignoring everybody else and sticking to it. Brilliant. Excellent. Well done. Fantastic. Who else had that? Yes.
Visualize it and experience it emotionally.
Visualize it and experience it emotionally. Right, so seeing exactly what you want and then feeling the desire and the passion for it. Yeah? How it make you feel once you've got it. What a brilliant word. I get to be Santa Claus today, that's Santa Claus early today. Yes.
Yeah, in Hindu, this is, I'm not a priest or anything like that, but this is something which in India, what they do is anything they start at the beginning of anything, they go and pray God for anything.
Right.
I said, education is not because of the story what they say, it is basically when you go into something, look at it and take 5 things from that to succeed.
Right.
One is to be a good listener,
Yeah.
Yeah. Good vision, because elephant has fantastic vision. Strong like an elephant.
Yeah.
And the other thing is memory power is good.
Yeah.
You have to have that. And shut your mouth.
Is that Sanskrit?
Success. Not go and say, oh, after I share it.
Brilliant. No, thank you. Let's give a round of applause for you. Tomo.
I might have come out because I was in the bathroom when it started.
Beg your pardon? It might have come out whilst you're in the bathroom.
Someone else might have mentioned it as well.
That's rather more information than I wanted.
Hold ourselves accountable.
Hold yourself accountable. What does that?
Ourselves.
Ourselves. What does that mean to you? How do you do that?
To check in with the goals. So it's not just about setting goals, it's about reviewing them, but and to really actually test ourselves and see if we are achieving them.
Brilliant.
Not just
Okay. Cool stuff. Brilliant. Let me go all of it, because I've done quite a few people around here. Let's go over here. Yes.
So one of the things that I realised really works for me, or has worked for me this year, is actually about being bold And I think it is lined to like that self-belief.
Right.
But, you know, you think you can do it, be bold, step out, make
Right.
a call.
Yeah.
That really works.
Be bold, step out, make the call.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Fantastic. That's a good one. I think I've got, let me see if I've got any more questions. I'm feeling generous. Anybody want a Duracell battery? No, just kidding. Yes. Oh, you don't want the present?
Consistency.
Consistency.
Like not giving up when going gets tough.
Okay.
Like just taking little steps and keep going.
Right.
Always going in the right direction.
We're going to talk more about that actually in the second half. It's absolutely. Don't get three. Which one would you like? What do you mean, making money?
Well, no, sir. Financing is like learning to budget better.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
I think it shows that you're looking to see. Actually, you can't do something all the time.
Okay.
Being open to let other people help them or reach out to have buddies and coaches because actually you're accountable.
Right.
And that makes you take action, not just
Which is that two energy, isn't it? The two energy around collaboration. Yeah. Which is good. Which is very, very in the flow with this for 2018. Brilliant. Well done. Good luck. This lady here. Yes.
When I first started, I thought, oh, I was in the crap bit.
You're in the crap bit. Okay.
But then what came out to me was action and passion.
Action and passion. Right. So as long as you're passionate about what you want to achieve,
Yeah.
and you use that passion to create the action,
Yes.
then you achieve it.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Brilliant. Right. Okay. So let's look at some other things here as we share some of the other learnings around achieving our goals. So quite often I'm asked this question a lot. What's the difference between somebody who's massively successful and somebody who isn't? Now, of course, success means something different to everybody. Yeah. For some people it might be financial, for some people it might be around their family, for people it might be around their relationship, it could be all manner of things. So normally I ask the person, well, who do you perceive as being successful? And quite often the same names are in the frame. You might get, well, new name in the frame, Elon Musk probably would be in the frame over the last year or so. But other names would be Richard Branson, who's a name that's mentioned a lot. Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs is another person who's mentioned a lot. Bill Gates is a person who's mentioned a lot. And I don't know any of those people personally, though I do know people that have worked personally with them. And so this is the thing that I gleaned from this. So the people over here that we don't perceive as being successful, what they are doing is they are waiting for a time when they know everything that they need to know. They're waiting for a time where the situation and circumstances are perfect. They're waiting for the right time. And they're waiting for a time when they're guaranteed success. Okay. Whereas these people over here, the people that we perceive as being successful, know they'll never know everything that they need to know. They know that the situation and circumstances will never be perfect. It'll never be the right time. And they also know that you'll never guarantee success. So what do they do differently? What they do differently is they know that. They know they'll never know everything. They know the situation and circumstances will never be perfect. But the time will never be right. There's no guaranteed success. But what do? They act as if they know everything that they need to know. They act as if the situation and circumstances are perfect. They act as if the time is right. And they act as if they have guaranteed success. But one more thing that they have is that they know it'll never get any better than right now. So everybody's waiting for a better time. It doesn't get any better than this. You know, the number of people, when there was that financial crash in, 2008, 2009, that one that they said was the worst financial crash in living memory. Which means, as far as I'm concerned, there are a lot of people that don't have very good memories. Because I think I can remember at least 4 that were the worst in living memory, And, I saw so many people that I go like, so what are you going to do about that? Oh, well, I'm just going to batten down the hatches and wait for normal service to resume. And they've still got the hatches battened down, because what they haven't realised is that this is normal service now. It's not going to get any better than this. Yeah? But what these people know is they go, okay, I know I don't know everything that I need to know, and I'm willing to act as if I do. I know the situation and circumstances aren't perfect, but I'm willing to act as if they are. I know the time isn't perfect, but I'm willing to act as if it is. I know that this isn't guaranteed to succeed, but I'm willing to act as if I'm guaranteed to succeed. And I'm going to take action right now, because the time for action doesn't get any better than right now. That's why these people are over here. So that's what they do. Whereas these people are still over here, waiting for success. And it never arrives. Yeah. So let's look at how we go about making 2018 our best year yet, big picture, before we take a break. Now, I actually adapted this from the work of Robert Dilts, and it's called his neurological levels. I'm going to put it up on the flip chart because I want to annotate this. Is that what today is about? Single thing that today's about. It's about results. Yeah? What we want to achieve, what we want to have in 2018. And the results are very much about goals. And what enables us to create results are our behaviors. Yeah? We behave in a particular way and we get a result. We always get a result. The question is it the result we want or not? Yeah? But when we behave in a certain way, we get a result. This starts to come into the how. Our behaviors are determined by our skills and abilities. Or what some people might call strategies. Yeah, makes sense so far? What we know we can do, our skills and abilities, and the strategies that we run enable us to behave in a particular way. The behaviors get us particular behavior as a result. That starts to come into the how. How we actually achieve these goals. But then underneath there, there are our beliefs. And our beliefs are a little bit like on-off switches. They either switch on our skills and abilities or switch off our skills and abilities. You might have heard that Henry Ford saying, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're absolutely right. And I think a lot of people have heard that. A lot of people quote that. I don't know if you know where it comes from. Henry Ford had gone to his research and development department and he'd asked them to invent for him or create for him a V8 engine. And they said, Mr. Ford, it's impossible. And he said, well, make me one anyway. And he kept going back to research and development, going, how's it doing? And they went, it's not. It's impossible. It's impossible to make a V8 engine. It's impossible to make a V8 engine. And then finally he came out with that quote, well, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're absolutely right. So make me one anyway. And of course now V8 engines are quite common, so are V12s, so are W12s, so are V16s. But these things impact what we're doing. You know, as an example, let's say you wanted presentation skills. So a lot of people go like, okay, I want to get the result of being a better presenter. Let's go on a presentation skills course. And they get skills as a presenter. But when they leave, they don't believe they can do it. What will you see at the level of results? What do you reckon? Nothing. Yeah. Whereas if they went on something like presenting magically, for instance, it's just a suggestion, where you get absolutely amazing presenting skills, but also the way that it's structured, people leave believing they can present magically. Then what do you see at the level of results? You actually see them, actually see the person taking action. But that's not the whole story either. Because also we have our values. And our values create the juice, if you like, the motivational force that goes through the beliefs. So again, you know, you get somebody who goes on a course, they get presenting skills, they leave believing that they can present fantastically, but it's not important to them. What are you going to see at the level of results? You're going to see it. Do they have the skills? Yes. Do they have the belief? Yes. Do they have the motivation? No. Yeah. So these things here determine the why somebody does it, why somebody actually takes action. If we wanted to take it even further, we could either put something like our life purpose, which is bigger than any goal that we could ever have. Yeah. Now, the other thing that can prevent people from being able to achieve their goals, as well as lack of belief, as well as misaligned values. I mean, this is an interesting one. Our values and beliefs are pretty much in place by the time that we're age 10. You might have heard that Jesuit saying, you know, give it the boy for the first 10 years, I'll show you the man. Yeah. So it means that if I hadn't done any work on my beliefs and values, I would be operating from a set of beliefs and values that were 44 years out of date. Now, even if you're not as old as me, which a lot of you aren't, then, you know, think about where the world was when you were 10. Yeah? Is it a different place now than it was when you were 10? Judith's laughing. Yes, just a bit. Yeah. Are we in times of accelerating change? Yeah, massive accelerating change. Over the last couple of years, things that people believed would never happen, happened. Massive change. Does that mean that people's values are going to be even more out of date more quickly? Now, you know, so if I hadn't done an update, if you like, on my beliefs and values, it'd be like going on a journey somewhere using a map that was 44 years out of date. What do you think my chances of actually successfully getting to where I want to go would be? There's roads on that map that aren't there anymore. There are roads now that aren't on there. There are roads that were actually you could use and now they're pedestrianised, or they're one way. You wouldn't dream of going on a journey with a set of values and beliefs that were 44 years out of date. You wouldn't even dream of going on a journey with a road map that was 10 years out of date, 5 years out of date. But unwittingly, a lot of people do that. The other thing that prevents people from achieving these kind of results that they've got is emotions like anger, sadness, fear, guilt. Now I've got a client. One of the things was, there was one thing guaranteed to make him really angry, guaranteed to make him see red, and that was seeing somebody successful. When he saw somebody driving an expensive car, furious. When he saw somebody wearing an expensive suit, furious. When he saw somebody making a lot of money and successful, furious. How successful do you think he was? No, because he'd have to get pissed off at himself, wouldn't he, if he was? Yeah. Sadness, in relationships. So one of my students called these negative emotions the luggage of life, in that we kind of collect them through our life. And this is what a lot of people do with relationships. They've had a relationship break down, they're angry about it, they're sad about it, there's some grief there, they're scared the same thing might happen again, there might be some guilt. And they come into their new relationship, either moving into their new home, either physically or metaphorically, with their luggage of life. And they come in with their suitcases and they go, "Hi honey, I'm home." Their new husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend does the same thing. "Me too." Do you think that's a good way of starting out a new relationship? No, definitely not. Fear. Fear is a big one. Here's an interesting one. The number one fear in the States is what I'm doing right now. Speaking in public. To put that into perspective, the number 2 fear is dying. So people would rather die than speak in public. Now, in the UK, we're a little bit more balanced. The fear of public speaking is the number 2 fear. The number 1 fear in the UK is spiders, which is really logical and rational if you think about it, because until recently, we were a nation that had no poisonous or venomous spiders. But people would freak out at a spider that size. So I guess the worst thing you could ever imagine would be dying on stage in front of an audience of spiders. That would be it all. But quite often when people get to setting goals is when they discover they've got a fear of success. And I find that fear of success is as common as fear of failure. So they set a goal and they go, "Oh, but what if it all went horribly wrong?" And they come to terms with that. Then they go, "Oh, but what if it all goes terribly right?" And they come to terms with that. They go, "But what if it all goes horribly wrong?" And they flip-flop between the fear of failure and the fear of success and do nothing, which is a guaranteed way of getting no results. And then there's guilt. It's interesting, I've been doing a lot of work around traders. And one of their big things that blocks them from success is the guilt of making a lot of money very, very quickly by, in their mind, doing nothing other than sitting at their screen and clicking on a mouse. And it works, and they get good at it, and they make a lot of money, but then they feel bad. And when the guilt kicks in around your success, I had the same thing. I can remember very briefly the day that I made as much money in a day as my dad used to make in a year. And rather than doing what we were doing earlier and going, "Yay!" and celebrating, I felt bad about it. And I actually sat there one night, "Is that okay? Is that all right?" And the answer that came up was, "No, it's not okay." If I hadn't dealt with my guilt, do you think I'd ever had another day as successful as that? No, because unconsciously what I'm going to do is I'm going to sabotage it to avoid the bad feeling. Okay. So these things can prevent us from being able to achieve these things, these goals. And one of the things that I'm really into, in 1993 I discovered for the first time the stuff that I'm going to be, some of the stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you over the rest of Let's Make 2018 our best year yet. Stuff that I just didn't know existed. I had all of that. That's how I wound up going from having everything to wind up in a bedsit. Yeah, I had all of that. And by learning what I'm going to share with you, I overcame all of that in a very, very short period of time. And that's where I learned it doesn't matter where you are now, the only thing that matters is where you want to be. And that's what today's about. It's about deciding where you want to be. That's what we're going to be looking at after the break and how to go about achieving that. But the thing was, when I was there, I was going, how come we aren't taught this stuff at school? Like, how come at school we learn really useful things, like the Battle of Hastings is 1066, the Great Plague of London is 1665, and the Great Fire of London is 1666, and it's still in there. Really useful stuff like that. Rather than, how do you go out and make all the kind of money that you want? How do you go out and be fit, healthy, and have well-being? How do you go out and make relationships at work? You don't learn that. You learn all this other stuff. Yeah. So I actually made a commitment there and then, in May 1993, to make what I'd learned available to as many people as possible. And that's a mission that I'm still on at this point in time. We've got here life purpose. One of the things that I discovered was that my life purpose is to change the thinking of the world, which is actually a master number. It's a master number of 55, which is interesting because that's how old I will be on January the 6th, 2018. My age will be my master number. What do you think I'm going to be doing in 2018? And one of my commitments was to make this kind of information, what I know and what I've learned, available to as many people as possible, which is why I created the I Am David Shepherd app, which has everything that I've created and everything that I will create available on the phone, on a tablet. It's the Netflix of NLP and personal development. It's free for a month and it's $6.99 after that, to make it available to as many people across international borders at a price which the majority of people will be able to afford. That was a commitment that I made way back in May 1993. It still drives me as much today as it did then. Yeah? So, what I've put together for you guys here is I have a 2-day seminar called Fix Your Mind. And Fix Your Mind enables you to get rid from your mind of anger, sadness, fear, and guilt. Eradicate it from your mind forever. Just gone, so there just won't be in the way anymore. Enable you to get rid of your limiting beliefs that align your values, so that everything is streaming. You've got the why, the passion that you were talking about. That's the why that has you take the action. Yeah? To align that passion and that desire and that drive. The next one of those, you might want to write the dates down for this, is the 27th and the 28th of January, here in London. And, as I say, I want to make this stuff available to as many people as possible. So today, if you want to book on Fix Your Mind and work with me personally for 2 days, it's just £147 rather than £750 today, including VAT. Now, that does this bit. But then there's this bit. One of the things that I found was that there are certain skills, there are certain strategies that people who make a lot of money use. They were probably just naturals. There's people that you go, do naturals exist? Yeah, absolutely do. But when you ask them, how did you do that? They go, I don't know, I just did it, Dave. I haven't got a clue. Yeah. But they've got specific beliefs, they've got specific skills, and they've got specific strategies to make money. Specific strategies and skills to make their relationships work. Specific beliefs, strategies, and skills to be able to create the sense of health and well-being in their body that they want. They've got certain beliefs and strategies and skills to be able to go out and create the career that they want and or the business that they want. So for this year, for the first time, because we've never run this seminar before, I put together a new seminar called Strategies for Success, which does this bit here. Because I discovered, yes, we can identify what our limiting beliefs are and get rid of those. That sets us on quite a steep curve. But then these people over here are massively successful. Not only do they have no limiting beliefs about it, they also have some really empowering beliefs about it. And that's where the beauty of NLP modeling comes in. It takes out the need for trial and error, because you can take these people and go, okay, so how did you do that? Take that from them and install it with other people. And that's what Strategies for Success does in 4 areas. Money, health and well-being, relationships, business and career. 2 days focused on those 4 areas, getting the strategies, the skills, and the beliefs modeled from those people that are natural models of excellence in those 4 specific areas, so that you can short circuit the trial and error and get to where they are significantly quicker. Yeah? Are you going to be guaranteed success? No, because it doesn't exist. We're going to look at why that doesn't exist this afternoon. Will it enable you to short circuit that? Absolutely. I mean, I was working with a client on Friday and doing exactly one of my one-to-one mentoring clients. And I shared some of the skills, the strategies, and the beliefs with him. And this was his perspective. He said, "Today, you have just saved me 3 years. You've saved me 3 years of trial and error. I'm now where I would be in 2020 today." Yeah? That's the potential of what we can do with this. So, new seminar, Strategies for Success, 17th and 18th of February. The normal price for that is what if you call the office would be $750, but today, $247. And ideally, you do both. Yeah, you do this bit, and you do this bit. Those dates for Strategies for Success is going to be the only one this year. We run Fix Your Mind on a regular basis. Some of you have already done it. Come and review it. So here's the deal for today. Do both of them. All 4 days. Fix Your Mind and Strategies for Success. Doesn't matter which order and sequence you do them in. Just $297 today. Yeah, that's everything that you need to be able to achieve everything that you put out in your future after the break. Because after the break, I'm going to show you how to go about starting to create that right now, okay, after the break. And aligning all of that down there again with those things will only accelerate it and make it easier. Here's one of the things. Success is simple. Just those like rules for success you've got. Take action. Passion and take action. Consistency. They're simple. A lot of people mistake simple for easy. And they're not necessarily the same thing. Does this mean it's going to be really easy for you to create everything that you want? No. Does it mean there'll be less bumps in the road? Yeah. Does it mean you're going to get there quicker and easier? Yeah. That's a real key thing to how we go about the next stage in the process, because what we're going to be looking at here, once we get back from the break, is what are the results you want to get? What does 2018 look like for you? And how do we go about starting what I call the creation process? Because after the break, we're going to be going through the creation process. So we can actually plant the seeds today for 2018. Yeah. So if you're interested in any of those seminars, or if you're interested in having a chat about them some more, then Sally's at the back there waving her hands around. By the way, guys out in Facebook land, if you want to get those same deals, then you can contact us, and we'll honor them for you guys too, because I know many of you were trapped in the snow, and you need to learn how to deal with that. 15-minute break starts now. When we get back, we're going to be starting the creation process. I'm going to be introducing you to your quantum success team, your conscious mind, your unconscious mind, and your higher self. 15-minute break starts now.